All right, our scene opens on the city of Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is a wonder of modern construction, even though it's stood for a long time. Water flowing back and forth through its many canals and many little turnoffs along the river around it for shipping to go in and out. It's a major shipping city. And our scene opens on a street corner. Just around, beneath the lantern light, just around in a dark alley, we find a shadowed figure doing shadowed things. He tips his hat and looks up to someone who we cannot see because of the lighting. We are certain his stature must be small because he seems to have vanished all but entirely. But this voice says to the man, "Look, I wouldn't have said you could do it if I didn't think you could do it. I've given you the power. I've taken all that I could. I've given it to you. Now get it done, or you'll burn in Avernus with the rest of it." The man nods and heads down the alley. We are going to start with, let's start with Vermac. Vermac, what are you doing in Baldur's Gate first off? 6 weeks ago, what brought you to the city of Baldur's Gate? 3 weeks ago, the gates were all closed and you've been stuck here. But what brought you here in the first place?
I came in on a spelljammer, and
If that's the case, spelljammers are uncommon enough in this setting that getting to Baldur, there's nowhere you would have landed in Baldur's Gate. You would have landed outside of the city somewhere and then walked in, because the average people do not know about spelljammers.
okay. I landed nearby on a spelljammer. My crew was taking some shore leave and got trapped, so to speak, in the city.
Do you think your crew would have left without you?
Yeah, I wouldn't have put it past them.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you're in a rush basically to get outside of the city to find out why. Okay.
Yeah.
Amongst our player notes, you find yourself actually in the lower city more than anything else. Lower city is where you've been able to find access to. Now, the outer city, everybody can kind of get out there, but you fear going out there means convincing a guard to let you get back into the lower city, because the gates have been closed, because we are in a time of refugees flooding in and out of the city from El Terrell and everything like that. So you have spent most of your time in the lower city. The lower city is a crescent of steeply sloping neighborhoods that plays home to the common folk of Baldur's Gate. It's a chaotic tangle of conjoined slate-roof buildings, narrow cobblestone thoroughfares spanned by bridges and buttresses designed to keep overflowing tenements from tumbling into the streets. And as cramped as noisy as the lower city can be during the day, bustling with businesses from 1,000 shops, the district turns eerily quiet at night. Though lit by street lamps and traversed by hired lantern bearers, the darkened streets are far from safe, and those citizens not running taverns or other late-night establishments tend to lock their doors and bar their colorful window shutters as the river's dense fog rolls out. So, are you in the lower city, or do you think you've gone out into the outer city and gotten yourself stuck out there? Where do you want to be? The lower city is also where, like, the Elf Song Tavern would be, the Low Lantern. The outer city would be where the Prancing Centaur Bar was. So these are some locations that you as a player might know. Those are taverns. You can go to a boat dock. You know, where would you likely be on just a typical day since you're stuck here in town? Typical evening.
I'd be doing what I can to find, let's say, at least moderately legal employment.
Moderately legal or moderately illegal?
Moderately legal, or maybe ambiguously legal is a better word.
You would have spent, after the gates closed, you would have spent your time working down by the docks and stuff, since that's where the ships are?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the work I know, being on a ship.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a work at home and then go to a bar guy, or work and then go home guy, or work and go to the bar guy? Like, what do you do?
I think yeah, spend my day working and relax with a couple of drinks, but nothing crazy. I'm
And then
I try to keep out of the limelight, so to speak.
then you would actually know of the tavern, specifically the Low Lantern, which is an aging three-masted merchant ship that is permanently docked on the east side of the harbor. Far past the point of being seaworthy, the vessel was converted into a tavern and a gambling house that is open all day and all night. There is a very popular dice game here called Baldur's Bones.
Okay.
So that would be the kind of thing. So I mean, where do you want to start? Are you? It's early afternoon. Are you still making a buck on the dock? Are you heading out? What are you doing?
Early afternoon. I feel like I feel like you're still at least getting towards the end of the workday. I feel like at the docks, day start early, or the shift starts early.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree. So you're headed out to grab a drink. There's also other things you can do in the lower city. That's just off the top of my head is the Low Lantern, because that is one of the things that the other players have seen. But as you were one of those players.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of headed towards the Low Lantern.
If you would like to know more about the lower city,
coins.
you can ask, or I can give you more information. You've been there about 3 weeks at this point. Well, 6
Yeah.
weeks total in the city, 3 weeks stuck in this area.
Right. Yeah, I feel like at this point I've kind of built up a routine of sorts. I get done with my shift at the docks, head over to the Low Lantern, maybe play a round of Baldur's Bones, or 2 or 3. And
All right.
then yeah, kind of live a out of the way life, because I don't want to draw too much attention to myself.
Right,
At
so
least
you're
until I
hanging
can
out.
back up with my crew.
You're hanging out at the Low Lantern, and I will go ahead and find us a map of the Low Lantern. Which I could have swore existed. Aha, there we go. Ah, we used the DM map last time. Wait, does the battle map have line of sight? It does. I'll be danged.
Dang, darn it.
First off, why don't I put you guys all in the party so that everybody appears where they're supposed to?
Because that would be easy and fun.
Yeah.
And in the combat tracker. Woohoo. Alright, now I can drop a token on a character sheet. And you are playing Vermax.
I am. And part of the reason I want to be out of the way is because of my unique appearance compared to those around me in the city. I already draw enough attention to myself.
From the main deck to the... I don't think I agree with the order that this set is saying that the decks are in. But whatever. You're on the tavern deck. I am going to share this map Unfortunately, I don't think players that don't have a token on the map can see it.
Nope.
It appears blank to me.
Yep, that's what I thought. That's fine. It's now been shared, which means if your tokens are placed on them from your character sheets, you'll be able to reopen the map and it will be where they should be. So, Vermac Nightglider is going to be in the Low Lantern. You're hanging out in there, just having a night with... Let's see. This is the busiest and noisiest part of the ship. It reeks of sweat, cheap ale, rotting timbers, and old vomit. 3 bouncers position themselves so they can see everything that happens here. And at the end of one bar is Lorella Thundreth. But everyone around there knows her as Captain. She's the bar owner. She's not really doing anything. She's just hanging out there. Like she's doing paperwork, you know, like why did that drop like that? Because I'm an idiot, that's why. Well, I don't know how to remove that, but I have a solution. Place them on the initiative tracker, even though they weren't supposed to be. Ha 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 ha. I win. Now it's visible. Also be neutral. And sitting on her shoulder is, of all things, a crab.
Crab.
If it lets me drop the token. Now, the bar has its normal patrons in here, but tonight, of all the random things you've seen encountered, a Minotaur walks in. As soon as I find his character sheet, Grim Vicious.
Ooh, grief.
Now, Grim. Oh my god, I did not just do that. I was trying to expand it. Ping. Thank you. Now, Grim, do you know how to open the map that you've been placed on? Or is it still black for you, or has it refreshed?
It has refreshed, and there is very little to be seen, but it is there.
You can see the
I can see
lit
like
up room going down the way in front of you.
It's like a V almost.
I
Alright.
think I can click your yes. Here, let me move your token forward a little bit, so that'll help.
Okay, yeah. Yes, I can. I don't know which token's mine. Oh, there we go.
You would be the one coming into the room,
Yes, I can see.
not the one at the bar.
I can see Vermac and
Lorella, which to you is just a random person known as the captain. You don't actually know them. Let me get to your description here in just a moment.
Okay, yeah.
What matters is that you can see the map.
Yes.
Okay, so you come walking into this bar. You have spent your time hanging out in mostly, actually, the lower city, or the outer city of Baldur's Gate. You
Is that
actually only... What's that?
Is that where like the ghettos and the slums are?
Effectively, they're actually outside of the city's protective walls.
That would be where I'd be most of the time.
Dirty and uncouth, the outer city holds everything the elite of Baldur's Gate resist allowing within their walls: the poor, refugees, tanneries and stockyards, and other industries that offend highborn sensibilities. Stretching forth from each of the city's external gates, the outer city sprawls in a chaotic tangle of shanties and shops. Carts and tents lining the roads in hopes of bleeding off enough city trade for their owners to survive. And indeed, much of the commerce in Baldur's Gate actually happens in those unregulated markets, with even patriars from the upper city shopping from inside perfumed litters.
Okay, that's where like the homeless and the beggars and stuff would be mostly.
True, yes, but there's several neighborhoods down there. Like, if you want to know about specific neighborhoods, I can give you specific neighborhood information. I have it.
I envision him hanging out in the ghettos, the slums, the homeless, the beggars.
Okay, so if that's where you envision yourself hanging out, what are you doing for like work?
don't. I just kind of wander around. If somebody is like in trouble, getting beaten up or robbed, I step in. I
And you
just
hope
sort
for
of
reward money?
provide- Huh?
And you just hope for reward money? You're that guy?
Uh, I don't do it for reward money, but if they offer it, I accept it.
Okay,
I
in
don't-
that case, how are you feeding yourself?
digging through scraps, living like a homeless person.
Oh, so you're fully doing the squalor thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What money I do get, I frequently will go to a shop and buy like multiple loaves of bread and stuff like that and hand it out to people I see digging through the trash trying to find food.
So there has been a local quarter within, we'll give you a specific neighborhood just for you in the lower levels. I'm sorry, in the outer city. We'll go to notifications. You spend your time, first off, at a location known as Baldur looks out to the sea. You wouldn't necessarily know it as that. However, you've kind of set up camp by this, which is, it is a statue twice the size of Baldur that is on the cliffs of Tumbledown, and it bears an uncanny likeness to Baldur, squinting west over the city and the river. People have talked about this thing, that it just came out of nowhere. So one day you were stuck here in town, wandering, people were being rude to you, you're out in the woods, you found it, and that's been a great place to set up camp. And you have found that there's actually like a little tent city that kind of pops up occasionally. Every couple of nights, a handful of people will show up here and then move on to the next location. But this is a popular spot for different roving groups to just sort of camp at because they're stuck here right now. There are lots of refugees from Elturel here. Several thousand.
I would set up my camp on kind of like the outskirts looking in, so I'm not in the camp per se, but I'm available. I'm like the hermit who lives in the cave outside the city type of deal.
Okay. Aside from that particular statue, another place that you would know is the Whitkeep Hostel. In a city often thought to be dour and dangerous, the Whitkeep Hostel is a spark of light and levity. Built by a wealthy caravan operator who lost their fortune to monster attacks, this white-walled manor house was quickly overtaken by squatters and has now spent most of a century as an all-gnome artist commune. The only gnomes are invited to rent one of the rambling manor's 37 studio apartments. Baldurians of all races are welcome to socialize at the place's infamous surrealist parties or attend its concerts and offbeat art happenings. As such, the hostel has become the central gathering point for the city's radicals and revolutionaries. Think of it like the Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
Anything could happen there at any time. Nobody really knows, but it's 100% gnome run. And the people at the Whitkeep Hostel have taken a liking to you because basically you're scary.
Well,
So
yeah,
they let you hang around outside, share you some free scraps, let you catch a show in exchange for hanging out there, you sleeping outside. They don't care that you're the homeless guy sleeping outside so long as it keeps other people from doing it. And the interesting thing is a great many of them will often end up in like, because they're all bohemians, end up in like cuddle puddles with you outside after a show, come out drunk. They will try to be friendly with you. And if you're grumpy at any point, they'll of course wander off, but you get drunks, you know how they are.
yeah. Yeah, okay, that works.
On one particular night, earlier tonight, there was a strange caller outside of the place. He approached you and says, "Dear friend, from beneath a darkened hood, they tell me inside that you have offered them kindness. Is this true?"
For kindness to everyone.
I'm gonna have to turn your volume up. You're quiet again.
I offer kindness to everyone.
Such is a dangerous, but perhaps sometimes good thing in these trying times, yes.
It is what it is.
Tell me, sir, if I offered you but a handful of gold, would you deliver a package for me? It is from these men inside, and it would do me a kindness, for you see, and he like opens his cloak, and you see his leg is mangled. You realize very quickly it is a furred leg, so this is some sort of furred humanoid from beneath the hood. And you haven't asked him to move his hood or anything, but
No, no.
his leg is completely mangled. And I mean, you realize very quickly he's hobbling, and he says, "If it was at all possible, I would do this, but they say you are doing things of kindness. Will you help an old man?"
Do not give me your gold, but feed the poor, and I will do it. Or do not give me your gold, but use it to feed the needy, and I will do it.
"You are a good man, sir." And he steps back inside the building, and when he comes out, he is holding a package that you would describe, that other than the fact that it's wrapped in some type of parchment, as being a small chest. Like, it is a huge package, and he is dragging it out the door.
I go to help him.
It's heavy, but you're able to pick it up.
Oh, yeah. With a strength of 18? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried about you being able to pick it up. So the location you've been asked to deliver it to is here. He says, "Is package for a keeper at Low Lantern. Can you at all deliver for me?" And he explains where it is and that it's in the lower city.
So whom do I say it is from? Because surely the question will be asked.
Just that it was sent from the hostel. She will know. It is a package from here for her.
And her name?
Lorela, what is it? Lorelra.
Okay. The captain. We can just call her
The
that.
captain.
Yeah. I'll see it though. After the show.
Okay. He says, "It is much appreciated," and he walks away. So you successfully take this package from him, you successfully finish your show, and you start heading towards the lower city, and nobody stops you. You had not been able to get into the lower city in the weeks that you've been here.
Oh, I would have. The conversation would have gone a little bit differently, but we'll let it ride.
The guards don't say anything. They just sort of nod in your direction as you walk past into the lower city.
I
They
will
don't stop
I will
you.
say
They
that
don't
I
ask
have-
for ID.
I will say that I also have a hood up, so I'm kind of like hiding my visage.
As best
Not-
you can with a pair of
Yeah.
horns.
Right. I'm not like in disguise, but I'm also not. Look, I'm a minotaur. You know what I mean?
Personally, I think trying to drape a hood over your horns is going to make them stand out even more.
Well, let me see how Jaime did the horns, because I envision them kind of more playing against my head.
I mean, they're kind of bull horns,
That
the Minotaur.
that's
Yeah.
that's mostly just a limitation of the program that I was using.
Well, I just mean in general, Minotaurs would kind of have bull horns.
Oh, fair enough.
All right.
So wide and tall. Or hooked to the front.
I'm doing whatever I can to kind of limit my instant
For sure.
recognize instantly, but nothing extravagant.
Nobody tries to stop you. The guards let you pass. And even the bouncers at the door of the Low Lantern just seem to barely acknowledge you. So, Vermac, you look up and see this guy walking in.
Clearly, I've never seen him before, but
No, but this is a Minotaur in the lower city. He stands out to you. Nobody else seems to
Yeah.
be paying him any lick of difference. But he stands out.
Yeah. Can I gauge how he's feeling? Like basically
I mean, you guys, you guys, you tell me. Grim, are you wearing your personality on yourself in such a way that... Or does this guy think that a Minotaur just wandered in and might be a monster?
People fear me, but they will also, like, if they see me fighting an enemy alone, they will just, without hesitation, come to my aid.
So he seems like a monster at first blush, but then they go, oh, wait a minute. No, he's just a guy. He's not even a scary guy.
Right.
So yeah, at first blush, he looks like a monster, but right now he just looks like a guy delivering a package.
okay. As he kind of walks by, if he makes eye contact with me, because if he's like on a mission or something, I'm not going to bother him. But if he makes eye contact with me and give him a greeting and kind of say, I thought I was the rare one around these parts.
Are you near the door? Yeah, you are. I passed you. I would actually stop and ask you where I could find the captain.
I nod my head
Lorelro
over
would
to
look
the-
up. Lorelro would look up and go, huh, Captain? Right here. Welcome.
That's her there.
Much obliged. And I walk over to the captain, and what was the name of the place again?
The lowland. Oh, the Whitwall. The
Low Lantern.
Whitkeep Hostel.
Okay, yeah, the hostel has sent a package for you and asked me to deliver it. And I plop it down on the bar in front of her.
She just kind of stares at it for a minute and goes, huh. I mean, okay. Thanks. And she sets it behind the bar. And she kind of like fiddles with it for a minute. And she's looking at it. She says, "You want a drink while you are here? I don't get many minotaurs, and I'm a little nervous about you being in my bar. If you wouldn't mind, maybe, I don't know, sitting down or leaving."
If you
Not
wish
to be
me to
rude.
leave, if you wish me to leave, I will be on my way.
Oh, not at all. I wish you to spend as much money as possible, enjoy some games, and perhaps get drunk. Then you can spend more money, and I get rich. I
Getting
just
drunk,
want
not in the cards, but I will patronize your business. I will have a gallon of mead.
a gallon of mead. How do you afford your drinking habit with not working?
Because I do accept some. I don't have a habit, but I do have some money. I just never ask for it. And this isn't something. Delivering a package didn't seem like something worth getting paid for to me, since it was just an hour away, walking distance at most. I wander the city, or as much of it as I can anyway, so I mean, now I have a direction instead of aimlessly wandering, and I'm just delivering something. But if I, let's say I go and I help somebody who's getting mugged, and they say, "Here, please take this as gratitude," I'll take it, but I'll never ask for money. So I have a little bit, just not a lot.
Fair enough. She says, "Well, what do they call you, handsome?"
Grim.
"Well met. My name's Lorella Thundreth, but folks around here simply call me the captain. If you're thirsting for a beverage or looking to gamble, you've come to the right place, but watch your step. Things get pretty messy around here." And she slings a couple, we'll say 3 mugs that are huge mugs onto the counter, filled with mead. She says, "I don't really have a gallon jug, but this sort of adds up to it."
That'll be good for the evening. Thank you. And I toss down however much it costs plus a 50% tip.
As soon as you go to toss it, she says, "Hang on for a minute. We don't charge anybody till they leave."
Fair.
She leaves the package alone and comes back around to the counter to work on what she was working on.
I take my mugs and I try and find a table against the wall, like in a corner. Think Aragorn in the Dancing Pony or whatever, when he's hiding off in the background before he
Okay.
introduces himself. That's kind of what I'm doing.
There is a back one all the way across the bar that's sort of solo.
I'll do that.
So Vermac, this guy grabs his drink and just like wanders off.
Actually, no, I'll give one of them to Vermac and just take the two and say thanks for pointing her out.
No problem. You want to care to join?
I just sort of look at you kind of quizzically and I point to the table I'm going to. And start walking off. Not to be rude, I don't feel comfortable around people because of issues.
I mean, fair. Just as a clarification, that was you like saying if
If you want to join me, that's where I'm going.
okay. I would wait a second and kind of look at the captain, shrug, and then I'll join you. Why not?
He sort of nods at you as you wander off, but doesn't stop you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
I feel sorry for all of the indentured servants that work here. From a night of drinking.
Right? For some reason, I win. No, I don't win. Now I win. Through
My
with me
favorite
sound.
game.
I win.
How do you play this game?
Now I've got to find the soundboard sounds again. One moment. One moment. One moment is all I need. Yeah. Which I'm not. Why is it's there? It's just super quiet. Discord getting? Are you guys getting the crowd?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I had it turned down because of the heartbeat sound was
Screwing with you?
making me fall uneasy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting it now.
I had to pick a fight with the system to make it work. Now I've got to throw a bunch of sounds together. You guys hear the sound of the tavern coming alive
Yes,
as
sir.
patrons gather around you. What? People are whispering in the corners. A gnomish bartender comes in and takes over. A dwarvish bartender comes in and takes over. I'll get it all together, I promise. Drunks.
Take me with you. I can still swing a sword.
Why did I lose the actual tavern sounds? Like the background tavern people.
I don't know, but it sounds like we're on a ship now.
I mean, they are on a ship.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the bar is a ship.
Yeah, the little lantern is a moored ship.
So the only thing we're missing is music. Oh, and of course, that's one of the soundboards that went missing when everything shut down.
Huzzah.
Okay, I will go to here and grab boop, boop, and we'll go with this one.
Very, it definitely improves the atmosphere.
I can't see nothing yet. It's slowly growing, I promise. I gotta get everything set. I think that's probably good enough to work with. There's chugging contests and all kinds of stuff that are supposed to go off in the background. But they're all on timers, and God knows when they'll actually trip. Now that the bard has played a song, let's switch him to a different one. Oh man, I just realized Fantasy Grounds, the whole time you ain't even been looking at the map, guys. Y'all been looking at my face on my stream. All right, Grimvicious, you make it over to your table. Vermac, he leaves you a drink.
Yeah, I would kind of go with that whole sequence I mentioned earlier of just kind of like looking at him as he walks off, kind of shrugging at the captain, picking up the drink he gave me, and I'll follow him. I'll go see what he's all about.
Then move your token, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I can do that, can't I?
You can, in fact. Let me make sure tokens are unlocked.
Just because of timing here in a few minutes, I will still be on Discord, but I do have to take my dogs to the park, so I will be away from the computer, but
Okay.
I'll still be participating.
He walks up to your table to join you.
Greetings, friend.
And that's when I say, you know, I thought I was the rare one around here.
Everyone's got to come from somewhere.
I suppose that's true. Where do you hail from?
Shit. I never actually figured that part out.
Oh, put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did. Can you share the world map again, the big one?
Sharing.
Thank you. Let's see. Where would
Would you like me to Google where Minotaurs are most commonly from in the Forgotten Realms?
That actually wouldn't matter too terribly much. Where would a high concentration of morally ambiguous elves live?
In many of the woods.
A city near one of those.
A city near one of those? So probably Waterdeep.
Okay. We'll say Waterdeep then.
Waterdeep or Neverwinter.
We'll do Waterdeep.
Okay, yeah, because that gets you close to the Crypt Garden Woods, and the Neverwinter Woods. and both of those would have morally ambiguous elves, and the cities. To be frank, if you're from Waterdeep, it's very easy for you to follow the whole Minotaur and a Labyrinth thing. Waterdeep has got 2 million people. It is the largest city in the Forgotten Realms, and it's built on top of another city.
Okay.
So it's kind of the Chicago Dresden Files. If you get lost under the Chicago area, you get lost.
Underground.
Yeah, that sort of thing exists there. If you wanted to play the Minotaur and the Labyrinth.
Not necessarily. Like I said, I was a bodyguard enforcer for an individual, and that's all I really remember. I don't remember my childhood so much because he obtained me when I was very little.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, you're from the Sword Coast, and most notably from Waterdeep, very north of here. About 750 miles from here.
I've headed this direction from Waterdeep.
Thank you, CDT. That would still fit with, so he said Minotaurs live in the Underdark and prefer under tropical areas. That would still fit with Waterdeep because directly across the Sea of Swords from Waterdeep is, well, I say directly across, it's actually more across from Baldur's Gate, but you have the Moonshae Isles and Ruatham. So, your character might be from the Moonshae Isles. Your character might be from Mintarn. I don't know what Mintarn is, but it sounds like Mentor, so I'm looking at it. I don't know the story of Mintarn. Mintarn is its own thing. Okay. I might have to go look that one up. I don't know the story of Mintarn. I know lots of these. Not that one. Ah. Yeah, that's this game's EDT. We're going to be going big on lore, so... Well, if the players want it, since we have access to all of it. But yeah, so continue your guys' conversation between each other. You tell them you're from the Waterdeep area, then?
Yes, I've headed this direction, Waterdeep. I have no particular destination. I go where the wind.
I can relate. I don't know the Waterdeep area well. I've only been in town for the last few weeks now.
As these two become acquainted, Kriros, you've actually spent the majority of your time, I would think, as a wizard in the upper city. Just realized I'm gonna have to open. It's the problem with the party currently being split for this map.
Where'd you go?
You spent most of your time in the upper city, which is where the Van Thamper Villa is located. Your character doesn't really know much about that, other than a new theater is being built there, and a giant beanstalk shot out of the ground there just a few weeks ago. Locations that you may know there in the upper city. Oh, and I should give the upper city. The upper city, home to the Betrayer aristocracy of Baldur's Gate, is a place of beauty and splendor, where magnificent public sculptures stand alongside historic manors, upscale theaters and boutiques, and tiny stone-walled gardens tucked among the streets like hidden jewels. Flowers bloom along the tree-lined streets, ushering away any stray miasma that escapes from the less fortunate quarters below. Silks and velvets, gold braid and mink, water-clear diamonds, and luminous pearls. These are common sights in the upper city and hardly glimpsed elsewhere except as cheap imitations. Things known from the upper city are the High House of Wonders. Of course, the High Hall is up here, which is where the city is run from, but the High House of Wonders, which is a vast workshop in the center of Gon's religion in Baldur's Gate. Every day, the anvils and work tables that fill the High House of Wonders ring with the clamor of hammer and saw. Under the scrutiny of the meticulous High Artificer and our beach, a neutral male human priest, inventors work alongside priests and acolytes beside masters of all disciplines. Because the creations in these workshops are largely experimental prototypes, they are not deemed fit for public view. What was that? Set that aside. So there you go, Krios. You're in Alan. You're hanging out up here because this is where spellcasters typically hang out. The only thing that you would go into the lower city for is Sorcerer's Sundries, which is a wizard spell shop. What are you up to typically, and what have you been up to, especially for the last 3 weeks? You guys have been here you've been here about 6 weeks, but unless you're from here, and you've been trapped here for 3 weeks because of the refugee situation.
Yeah, I think I'd come down to learn some of the different, regional spells, the different.
You think you'd spend most of your time at Sorcerer's Sundries?
Oh, I would've either there or in a training yard, working on the blade singing portion.
There's not really a training yard that you would have gotten access to. Your best bet is training inside Sorcerer's Sundries, where other magicians can dispel you if you screw up.
But I figured I'd originally come from Neverwinter, and I'm one of the few wizards that actually wants to go to Longsaddle to learn from the Harples.
Sorcerer's Sundries, a dome of stained glass roofs, this tall, round shop, casting chaotic shafts of color down across several open-air floors that rise upon wooden pillars connected by staircases and ladders. While the living quarters upstairs teem with rare plants and bookcases, the bottom floor acts as one of the most popular magic shops in the city. Inside its delicate-looking but magically warded walls, customers can buy and sell all manner of curios and common magic items from the eccentric shopkeeper, Riveled Blackhand, a human mage with a withered right hand. If you're spending most of your time there, he would actually offer to employ you during your time here, and would you take it is the question. Because during the last 3 weeks, you could have been working at Sorcerer's Sundries.
Learn about how a entirely different city and region deals with magic, yeah.
Okay. Then, lucky for me, you get to have pretty much the same intro as somebody else. Because on this particular evening, our dear friend, Rivelin Blackhand. I'm sorry. His apprentice, Gilligan. Nice. His apprentice, Gilligan, would have approached you and said, "Hey, listen, boss needs you to pick up something." And he would have handed you a key. It would have just been a golden skeleton key, looking like it's made out of solid gold, shiny and new, something that somebody would easily want to snatch off you when they saw it. And he would say, "Boss needs you to pick up something from the Low Lantern."
Okay. I take the key, put it in the same pouch as my spellbook, and seeing as it was a nice shiny key, I would fly to the Low Lantern.
Cool. After you'd leave, you'd be almost out of earshot before he'd say, "Don't you want to know what you're supposed to be picking up?"
Well, I figured that they'd know when I showed them the key, but yes.
Nah, she probably don't know what she got. Nobody ever tells the captain nothing. He says, "Look, just see if she's got a package from that hostelry outside of town. If she does, this key should open it. We just want what's inside. There should be something for old Blackhand."
You said for the package from the hostelry, the one that Grim brought in.
So it would seem that way, yeah. Not that you know any of that yet.
Right, but notes. What was the place I'm in again called? The
Sorcerer's Sundries. The spell shop?
Yeah.
No, Sorcerer's Sundries.
I tell him I'll be back as soon as I can and fly to the Low Lantern to
Okay.
speak with Captain.
Rain-kissed thorn. You're a plague doctor is how you've described yourself in a lot of ways, but what is it that you do in Baldur's Gate? You've been hanging out in the lower city. They would have let you as far as the lower city. And it's kind of the same situation as everybody else had, that you could go to the outer city, but anytime that you did, it was one of those worries of whether or not you were going to be able to make it back into the lower city. You know about the Elfsong Tavern, which is a common pub. It's the most popular pub in town. Just went through a whole bunch of issues with people raiding it, but they have reinforced their door, reinforced their structure, and they've actually become a popular hangout, a very popular hangout, with an outer city crowd that likes to make their way in town. So they kind of like bar hop between the two. You know about, in the bar hopping, aside from the Low Lantern, you know about Blades and Stars, which is the inn that you would have had access to. You would know that, let me see, the Blade and Stars is a comfortable inn that was named after its original sign, which was an enchanted wooden shield. Painted black, the circular shield displayed an image of a curved silver saber gripped by a pale, slender arm. An enchantment on the shield caused glimmering, star-like motes of light to sparkle along the saber's blade, aka it had a neon sign. The former innkeeper of the Blade of Stars, a chaotic neutral half-orc bandit named Orion, used to insist that the illusory effect was the shield's only magic and that it did exactly what it was intended to do, draw in business. Recently, Orion and the shield have disappeared. Orion's wife, Lupin, has taken over and has been running it. That's where you've been staying, but what are you doing in town?
I pretty much have come to town to essentially, I guess, add to my knowledge of my craft for potion making, poison making, alchemical skills.
But that's it. You're what are you doing for work or anything? Are you looking for work while you've been stuck in town, or are you just hanging out?
I mean, if anyone is in need of my services, I have provided a good number of people so far with the proper potions and maybe some poisons, but for the most part, potions to. Oh, what ails them?
Potions?
Potions.
Recently,
It helps you, but it tastes horrible.
Recently, you have been getting rousted by people you believe work for Sorcerer's Sundries. You're not sure, but you have seen them wandering in and out of the place. And there are 3 particular guys that you don't have names for that actively will, like, chase you off your corner whenever you're walking around trying to help people or provide healing and stuff, or potions in particular. Like, it's very specifically potions that they have a problem with. And you notice one of these 3 guys just inside the door of Sorcerer's Sundries while you're applying your trade today hand something to a young owlin who immediately takes off with it into the sky. But this is one of the guys that have been rousting. Just gave something to this guy, and he is beaten feet with it. Otherwise, you are currently standing on the side of the street in the lower city. What would you like to do?
I will, just. Do I see where this person beat feet? Do they disappear?
Well, he took off into the sky. Oh, the person that handed him. Which one
Yeah.
are you looking for?
The one that handed him the object.
He turns around and walks back into Sorcerer's Sundries. Now, the guys that have been rousting you haven't said they work for any particular business. They just tell you that you're bad for business. And you have seen them around Sorcerer's Sundries, which is why you think they're from there.
Well, I suppose I will, just keep an eye on who's essentially been rousting me, or keeping a lookout, and continue providing services where I can.
Okay. I mean, the day winds on. Throughout the day, people will approach you. The town is flooded with refugees and stuff right now. So people will approach you for all sorts of healing and anything else that you can provide. Basically, until you tell them to go the F away. The only real solace you've had from these people is by ditching the mask and pretending to be a normal guy, or by going to lower populated areas, like the outer city or the docks. But otherwise, they will keep at it and pester you until nightfall.
Okay.
So you're going to keep to work?
Pretty much.
Okay. So that brings us to Clever Thunder. Clever Thunder, my dear friend, you gave us a recap. We know what your character was up to all the way until just a week or two ago. What have you been up to?
Well, for the most part, I have been trying to save up to fund a trip back to my homeland, or way far up north. In doing so, I've been making and selling my wares. I'm a blacksmith by trade, and when I'm not, and using the Gherkinstone shop as basically the place where I can sell it. And when I'm not doing that, I try and go to, I'm still practicing my violin playing. So I'll find taverns to get honest opinions on my playing as I'm growing as a violinist.
Strictly speaking, you're the only member of the party that doesn't have to worry about the gates, except for the outer sort of barricades that would stop people from leaving altogether. But any inward barriers, you technically still have a Flaming Fist badge, and all you have to do is flash it, and people nod, and you can get through anywhere. In the upper city, you have regular access to the High House of Wonders, which is a place to ply your trade and attempt to sell your trade. It's also where the town's college is, so it's a great place to run into sort of the difference between a fiddle player and a violin player. You would have the upper crust here. However, you have access to the lower city. Elfsong Tavern, you are well known there. You helped save the place. Alan keeps a room available to you at all times there. The Low Lantern, you tend to make more money at, but if you play there while practicing in the taverns. But again, you know that the Low Lantern is sort of the shady side of town, so to speak, When you get to the outer city, you have a standing invitation to play at any of the salons at Whitehall, Whitkeep, the Whitkeep Hostel, as well as the Oasis Theater. The Master of Revels himself gave an invitation to all the marionettes. Gherkinstone's Curios, strictly speaking, you were left in charge of, and so was Rhea. However, you were trying to pull back from the marionettes, and that is why Rhea has become the de facto leader. The marionettes, yes, they're a curio shop, but you also know their truth, that they are secretly a group of mercenaries helping root out the shady stuff going on in the city. And in the last week, you have watched as their numbers swole to triple digits. You have seen 100 different faces. You know that in the last week. All of people that you know are members of the marionettes. But if they were to throw their masks on, that you would lose them in a crowd quickly. They just, because the way Rhea interacts with them, she talks about marionette business. These guys are all marionettes. But there's just so many of them that go through here that you would lose them.
Makes sense.
Do you put to use the house at all?
I do. I'd like to also say that whenever I am at the house, I also I also occasionally invite people that I believe won't cause any harm to the house to stay. Like, for one example, a couple days ago, I ran into an elf lady that really did not look like she came from anywhere nearby. So that she was summoned to an abandoned temple. And she seemed to get along with the dryad.
I love it. I think that's great. And actually, because of that, can you do me a favor and roll me a percentile? As always, high rolls in player favor.
Oh no.
So the house has hedgerows around it, and you have found yourself, as you wander out in the hedgerows, sometimes, even though the house is in the upper city, you will step out of the back of a hedgerow and find yourself in the lower city or in the outer city. But in all the time that you've been here, you have not been able to map these paths. They disappear when you step off of them. So when you turn around and look again, you don't know how to find your way back to where you came from in the upper city. But one time, you got very lucky. One time, you saved someone. You gave them a place to stay for the night. And this one time, you were able to find the paths that you need to get them out of the upper city when they were discovered wandering around on the streets. This is a minotaur. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside, but you, because you like to let people who are down on their luck crash there and you have access to the whole city, I would say fully that given his whole I'm playing a homeless character thing, you and Girk's characters have interacted at least once.
Sounds good to me.
Throwing that out there. Okay, and this is, early afternoon, working into evening. What does a day look like for you right now?
You said we're going into evening?
Yep.
Okay. Well, cooling down my forge, grabbing my violin, and trying to decide on where to go to practice for the evening.
Well, you make more money in the lower city than you do in the upper city. People are not inclined to tip in the upper city. You pretty much play for playing there. So if you're looking for money, you won't find it up here.
I guess my coffers have been a little tight recently. Well, no, I can't say that. I've been selling goods.
You've been making and selling with equal propensity. So at the moment, you're not really turning a huge profit, but you're at least, making.
I do need to fund my trip, though, so I'm gonna try and take the opportunity to make money as much as I can, as opposed to going to the lower city.
Okay. Any random? Also, you'd make the most money technically at the outer city, but you also can't promise you'd get home safe with it.
Right.
So, there is the option of the dancing centaur in the outer city, but otherwise everything else is in the prancing centaur, and everything else is in the lower city that you know of. And there are lots, or you can find random ones. There are taverns everywhere. There's 100,000 people in this city before the rift.
Well, I'm almost never without my warhammer and shield anyway.
The golden shield?
Not the golden shield. Well, I guess the golden. No, I leave the golden shield at home because it's gold and I don't want it to get damaged. Plus, people seem to. Plus, I've noticed that not everyone can hear the shield. So it would look weird if I were having conversation with it.
Fair.
So I leave it at the cottage. I don't think the dryad seems to mind it too much. It doesn't seem to give me any clues about it anyway.
So far, it hasn't.
Yeah. I mean, who would who would hate an angel possessed shield anyway?
Yeah, that's it.
But no, I'll leave the golden shield at the cottage, and head down to I guess the low lantern. Seems as good as any.
I have a list of NPCs that are hunting that shield, and I don't know where it went.
Oh. Have I experienced that people have been trying to take my shield?
No, because it's only been a short time.
Okay.
But you were supposed to experience it today.
Oh.
And I can't find the note. Oh, there it is. I found it. I even have it in parentheses with your name beside it.
Then, yeah, I totally have the shield coming along with me.
No, you don't. It's totally fine to leave it at the house. If you chose to leave it at the house, it's at the house. That's your call.
I mean, the Dryad is a good enough defense system, too.
Yeah.
Not that I know that it needs defense right now. I go back to the cottage and all of a sudden there's thorns popping out everywhere until I come back like, what the heck?
It's actually a regular occurrence. They just recoil back into themselves so that you can enter the house.
Fair enough.
Sometimes but you never know what it is, because sometimes it's, the neighbor's dog that was pooping too many times in the yard that got spiked. Like, you never know what could be the cause of it. There's no dogs in Baldur's Gate, actually, so that wouldn't have happened. But for anybody that didn't know, Baldur's Gate does not have dogs.
Are you saying something about that?
Yeah, they're not allowed in the city. The only animals allowed inside the walled parts of the city are cats.
Yeah.
So you're gonna head to the lower city anywhere in particular? Are you finding a random bar? Are you going?
I think I said specifically the Low Lantern.
Okay, so you are gonna head to the lower lantern.
Yeah.
Okay. You find yourself wandering, meandering through the city as this owlin flies overhead. You don't often see people flying in the city. The Flaming Fist normally, unless it's a courier of some kind, they're not typically okay with it. Simply because who knows where they could be flying to. You can't really control flyers. So it's something you just got to be careful with. But you see this guy just cruising.
May I make a perception check? Maybe see if I can identify the robes. Maybe there's something that gives him special permission.
Ah, yeah, go ahead. Are you wearing anything on you that would denote you working for Sorceress Sundries?
If I
Career
was working at the time that I was asked to go get it, yes. It's like a tabard or a sash or something.
It would be a sash. It would be a purple sash that ties around your waist, actually waist to shoulder, like it's a full on sash.
Mhm.
And it's no, actually, I take it back. It would not be purple. Oh, DM moment. Yes, it would. It would be a deep royal purple. So you would see that this guy is wearing, at the very least, something that denotes he works for Sorceress Sundries, which you would have had encounters with because of crafting.
Sorcerer Sundries, which is an upper city thing. Yeah, they're.
Oh, Sorceress Sundries is a lower city thing.
Oh, it's a lower city thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's only a few blocks from the Elf Song.
Interesting. Well, no one stopped them yet.
You're looking around, and kind of as you think that. Interesting. No one stopped him yet, and you actually notice no less than 3 guards, and your perception check is low, so you got to guess there's more. No less than 3 guards have arrows trained on him from rooftops.
Oh!
Nobody's firing, but they are certainly following him.
I guess I'll follow as well, because this person's safety is at risk now.
What is your passive perception, Birdman?
That is an excellent question. 11.
Yeah, you're completely unaware. You're completely unaware. And Clever, you actually notice as this guy is flying and he passes out of range of some other guards on further blocks on rooftops just appear out of nowhere with arrows knocked, watching him as he travels. He seems to be moving vaguely in the same direction you are. I'm going to go so far as to say Vermac. You are not Vermac. Brainkiss Thorn. What is your passive? Your passive perception's a 16. You're watching all of this. You see the Tabaxi Clever Thunder as he wanders around a corner. Clever Thunder, describe your appearance. I've never had any of you guys actively describe your appearance because I was waiting for you all to get together. But screw it, we're here. Clever Thunder, what do you look like?
Well, I am a tabaxi for one. My fur pattern is like that of a snow leopard. It is gray with black rosettes, and I also have icy blue eyes. I have studded leather armor and a blue cloak that kind of comes off of my, not a cloak, but a cape that comes off of my shoulders. The cape is how I justify trying to play the part of a performer. I have a warhammer with an icy blue head on my side, and I have a shield strapped to my back, and in my, I guess my left hand, I'm carrying a violin case. So
you see Clever Thunder take notice of the guy flying overhead, the same guy that you had seen take off Rainkiss. And as he's flying away, you seem to a double take because he spotted something, and you raise your eyes to the rooftops. And sure enough, you see people with their arrows knocked, just tracking this flying owlin through the air as he moves towards a location and starts to dip out of your sight. But the Tabaxi looks genuinely worried. Your stats are high enough. You see him go, oh, what the crap? And like give up he was in the middle of a task as far as he knew. And let me see how this plays out first and change directions. So you watch all of this play out because your passive perception is definitely high enough. Also, Vermac, why are your hit points like 3? You and Grim, never mind. Okay, I feel a little better. But you guys have like 3 times the hit points, or twice the hit points as everybody else.
This is what I am.
I've done the math
Vermac,
wrong.
you're a rogue.
Yeah. Oh. Did the math wrong.
I was about to say, it's 5 times 8 plus 15.
Yeah.
And Grim's
Oh.
should be 3 times 12 plus 2 times 10 plus
15.
15.
I did the math 3 times before I even put it in.
For that matter, I think my max hit points are actually low because I started at level 3 maxed and then I rolled for the rest of them.
Yeah, you can go ahead and pump it to 5. That's totally fine. We have so many beaters in this party. But our frickin' barbarian with 71 hit points. Jesus H. Okay, well, he's a Minotaur. I accept it. Whatever. It's totally fine by me. So, any response, Thorn? No, to you, Eclipse.
Yeah. No, not really.
You're just gonna let them fly off, do their thing?
Yep, just keeping an eye out.
For the record, you do know the purpose is to get the party together, right?
I'll follow it.
Like,
Oh,
there's
I
only
have
so
to do
many
stuff.
seeds I can plot. There's only so many seeds I can plot, but at the end of the day, you guys have to come to the game with a mentality of get the party together in some way that makes some kind of sense.
I'm getting this strange feeling from an outside force, I believe, that I need to follow this thing.
I mean, no, you don't have to. We can keep it separate. It's just after a while, we'll stop following the character if he doesn't meet up with the party.
Yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and follow it.
His perception check was Clever Thunder's perception check was low enough that he doesn't even realize you're following. So you're following him, he's following the bird, and the bird has no idea anybody's about to shoot him as you guys all approach the low lantern. As you 3 arrive, at your own separate paces, of course, fog obscures the low lantern until you're within 100 feet of it, whereupon its tall mass and creaking bulk come into view. The converted ship has rigging but no sails and is anchored to the wharf by thick chains. A wooden staircase climbs down from the wharf's edge to the main deck. A lantern at the bow casts an eerie green light to signify that the tavern is open for business. I'm going to draw. Kriros will land first. There's no light sources on the deck, even though there's supposed to be.
I can see it just fine.
You can?
Yeah. Oh, I have dark vision.
No, it's like it's supposed to be. It's just it didn't have you highlighted. So yeah,
Oh.
yeah, you land on the deck.
I'd walk in the front door and start looking for Cap.
My
Cap.
thing made weird sounds, like things were logging out. That was weird. Oh, it's because Exiles was just popping off. The main deck of the old ship features wooden steps that climb to the forecastle and aft castle, and another set that descend into the ship. A padlocked wooden hatch fitted with windows acts as a skylight for the deck below the tavern proper. Visible through the hatch's glass panes, 4 dead seagulls lie on the deck, and 2 ravens squawk at you from the crow's nest. A 40-foot climb up the ship's rigging. So you just head straight to the stairs down?
Yeah. Like I'm on a mission kind of thing.
Hey, and now it's even showing your, even though you don't have initiative correctly, it's showing who is highlighted, flashy, which is what I was trying to make it do before. It's supposed to shine like that.
Nice.
So yeah, you manage to meander into the room. As you wander in, you notice a room full of patrons, and a woman sitting at the end of the bar who just pokes her head up and says, in a way that sounds very rehearsed, "Well met. My name is Norelra Thundrith, but folks around here call me the captain. If you're thirsting for a beverage or looking to gamble, you've come to the right place, but watch your step. Things can get pretty messy around here."
I'm gonna walk up to her at the bar and I don't know how loud I should say this. Tell her that I'm here from. Hold up, I gotta get my notes back. Sorcerer's Sundries to pick up a package for Blackhand.
She kind of pauses in position, stopping everything she's doing, and she just kind of looks at you and she goes, "Any package in particular?"
I pull out the key and go, the one that this unlocks. Pretty sure you got it from the hostelry earlier.
She kind of pauses and says, yeah, I think I took that below decks. Hand me the key. I'll go check it out in a minute. I'm kind of in the middle of something. You want a drink while you wait?"
Sure.
Anything in particular?
Trying to remember what they call root beer for the
Sarsaparilla.
people that are on that one. Or the equivalent.
She just kind of stares at you for a minute and goes, "Okay, I guess they don't make them greener than you. I'll see what I've got." And thanks to you, I have to open Lorella's character sheet.
Was that a microwave beeping I just heard?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was from the background noise for a minute.
She pours you a drink in a glass and hands it to you.
Didn't you know they served microwavable personal pan pizzas at the Low Lantern?
Yeah. I'm partial to Captain Crummy myself.
I'd
I just inadvertently made myself hungry.
I'd take it and come
I'll
sit
cook
down at
after.
the table.
Okay, are you a non-drinker by choice? Your character's a non-drinker, or just not at the moment?
I'm working. Is the mentality on that one?
Okay. Do you drink from the glass she handed you?
I would sip from it. Yes.
It's totally alcoholic.
Nice.
It is 100% alcoholic. She rolled a 14 to deceive you. She failed to hide the booze.
I'd probably drink it anyway.
Sitting in
Just
this
to
bar,
not raise a fuss.
you would notice the Hadozi and the Minotaur. Grim Vicious, can you describe yourself for me?
I am a large, like on the larger end of what a minotaur would be. I've got really thick, hardened skin. It is covered in random scars. I'm pretty damn ugly. As far as it goes, it's like without trying, I'm just kind of like people are wary of me just by my looks. No matter like one of those like if I try and smile, people are like ew type of thing. But I'm pretty muscular. I've got dark complexion all over. Haven't really decided the color because the player Girk really sucks with colors. I'm dressed in disheveled clothing, like I mentioned before. I'm trying everything in my power to kind of disguise, or not disguise, hide what I look like, as much as I can, like cover myself up. Um, there would be like if mentioned I had a hood over my head. I would imagine that there would be holes in that cape or hood or whatever. It's they're not filthy, but they're not clean either.
Okay. Two drow and a halfling.
I think for me, you'd be getting more of a curious eye as to how and why there's a minotaur in Baldur's Gate.
Ah.
Like, in the city. More than
That did not drop like it was supposed
your
to, and I broke
actual
everything.
appearance. You sure there's not supposed to be a drow on that lower deck?
I am
as
certain
the
of it.
lower deck?
That was weird. I grabbed the token. Thank you. Sorry, keep going, describing yourself.
I guess I'll go. I'm a snowy owlin. I have that deep purple sash currently on, denoting that I work for the Sorcerer's Sundries, but otherwise I'm wearing darker blue robes with a couple of daggers sheathed at my belt, and a obviously book-shaped pouch that's like tied to my belt at the small of my back. And I am small. Like, I'm standing on the chair that I'm supposed to be sitting in to be able to interact with the table correctly.
I love it.
And I'm hoping that I'm actually a small creature, and I'm hoping that Grim Vicious is actually a large creature.
I think he's a medium.
Aww.
Yeah. I wish it was large, but that wasn't an option.
All right, so Krios makes it in. Clever Thunder, you make notice of him boarding the ship. Why can I not grab Clever Thunder's token and see it? Because this. Now I can. Clever Thunder, can you see the map?
I can.
Okay. Same description as before. You find yourself on top of the ship, a couple of birds sitting in the top deck chittering at you, and this is where he went, the same direction you were already going. You watch the archers trained on him as they make their way down below.
The archers are actually going in?
No, they're just trained their bows on him until he makes it all the way in.
Okay. Do they look like they're waiting for him?
No, just that they're watching.
Okay.
They seem to be dressed as guards. They look like Flaming Fist.
Okay. So they were just making sure that he wasn't going to be in, or wasn't going to cause trouble, basically. Maybe.
That's a fairly good assumption.
Okay. I'm going to make my way downstairs. Let's see. Or into the tavern proper, which I believe is down these stairs.
It is, in fact, which I think that means I have to annoyingly delete your token and then drop it at the bottom of the stairs. So this is the low lantern. Currently, they have music coming from the deck below.
I actually can't see anything again.
Scroll your map right. You might have to re-ping it because it got dropped onto a different floor.
Let's see.
But your token is currently on the second floor down, which is the tap room and gambling hall. Yeah, you're currently targeting everybody. Well, now you're not.
Oh, I went to thing?
Oh, sorry. Go to your character sheet. And the top of your character sheet, there's something that looks like the ping icon.
Find
but it's
token.
Find token.
Okay, that's weird. Okay. Oh, good. I can see the owl from here.
Yep, the owl's sitting at a table. You see the captain, who just waves at you as you walk in, and she wanders around back to sit down at the bar. But before she does, she says, "Your usual?"
Yes, please.
What is your usual?
The honey mead, or the honey mead made with apples, if they have it in stock.
She says, "Oh, of course. Always for you, my friend." She goes, "However, just so you know, Pren's already playing tonight, though she may be a little drunk. If you were hoping to put on a show, you might have to ask her to step down."
If she needs a break, I'll pop in, but it's good to know. Thank you.
Pren. See if I can get to their descriptions. Ren Daring Whistle is a spectacles-wearing barnacle scraper who likes to come in here and belt out old sea shanties and perform.
Fair enough.
And you currently hear her playing in the basement, next floor down. You also notice the strange assortment of other people: Kriros, Grim Vicious, and Vermac.
Okay.
Vermac, did you ever give a description of yourself? Other than
I didn't.
a dark mammalian? And give a description.
Small, ape-like Hadozi. He's a medium creature, but like the smallest you can be as a medium creature.
You have seen Hadozi before, Clever Thunder, but not here in the north.
Dark reddish fur, almost appearing a purple color. Wearing dark, unassuming clothing. Yeah, everything about him screams, "Don't pay attention to me."
Which, of course, being that he sticks out like a sore thumb, because most people here haven't seen that species, is like, don't pay attention to me, even though you should totally look at me because you've never seen me before.
Pretty much.
Right. So, Clever, what would you like to do? Post up at the bar, grab a table with some of the regulars, several of them wave at you as you come in, or head downstairs?
After I get my drink, thank you very much. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have someone that I need to scold.
Good.
And walk directly up to the owl.
What do you got?
I set my drink down, point at Kriros. You!
What?
You need to be more careful flying is not really something that is permitted in the city without special permission. Do you know how many archers you had trained on you getting here?
There were archers?
That almost makes
Clever
it
Thunder.
worse.
Clever Thunder, you have an inspiration. You can give it where you want. That's sound.
I'll give it to Kriros. That almost makes it worse. Oh.
Well, I was given a go get this with a nice shiny gold key, and I didn't want anybody to take it.
So they're having this conversation. You tell him the go. I was told to go get this with the shiny gold key.
I'd say go get something with a shiny gold key.
All right.
I
So
would
while
not
they're
indicate that it was anything specific or that I did or did not have the key anymore.
while they are going through this interaction, Thorn, you've watched all this play out, them arriving here together, within just a few moments of each other. But you actually stopped outside as you're approaching, because you've been watching, like I said, this string of archers that your friend was following, or the stranger was following. You know, this whole chain of events. But you actually notice towards the tail end of the trip here, 4 men dressed in armor but wrapped in cloaks seem to join in the pursuit, following Clever Thunder's character towards here. And you watch them as they all take up positions around the deck. I need story. I think it's notable NPCs. Yep. It should have dropped all 3. It didn't. Okay. Like they're watching the deck. One of them even actually goes onto the deck.
Can I possibly try to do an insight check on him?
Oh, you certainly can. You have advantage. 'Cause these guys are not hiding.
$22.
They're keeping an eye on the friendly tabaxi. They don't even care about the owlet. They are paying. They don't even see, as far as you can tell, the guards with the archers. These are 3 people that are stalking that tabaxi. You are certain of it with that roll.
Interesting. I will go ahead and follow the tabaxi I saw.
You're just gonna head in.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to make it past, or just gonna walk past these guys casually.
Pretty much.
All right. Roll me a deception check. It's with advantage. They're not paying attention to you, but you're trying to get past them with without acknowledging that you see that there's some sort of threat.
Could I possibly try with stealth?
Stealth is totally fine. You could also have advantage on that as well.
21.
They're rolling perception checks, which luckily they're only going to have 1 set of stats, so it makes it easier. I'll just roll it for one of them. But they are actively looking for somebody, so they get to make that active check.
Well
Well then.
Tra la 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 la. Tra la la. Doop. And then I gotta redrop you on the sheet, but in the second part. You make it down the stairs just fine. As you walk your way in, the captain looks up and gives her usual speech. Well met. My name is Lorella Thundreth, but folks around here call me the captain. If you're thirsting for a beverage or looking to gamble, you've come to the right place, but watch your step. Things can get pretty messy around here.
I'll nod and say thank you. And I'll see if I can spot the tabaxi.
At immediate glance, you can spot the owl the tabaxi was following. Yeah.
I'll go and sit right next to the owl.
You're just gonna walk up to the table?
Yeah?
All right, give me just one moment. I'm trying to find music. That's not the bells music. Somebody breaks out an accordion. Apparently.
Weird Al?
No, weird
Modern day
owl.
Mozart. Weird owl.
There's a
Yeah,
weird owl.
As you make it past the center mast, you actually notice that tabaxi is not only standing at the table that the owl is sitting at, but seems to be giving him a piece of his mind.
You know what? I will just go ahead and still sit at the table. You know, if we're just going by chair seats here, I'll go ahead and sit at the one that's closest
you
to
can
the
move your
5
own token.
p.m. Oh, okay. I'll just sit there quietly and try to get to Tabaxi's attention. It's like, you're being followed. Did you know this?
And another thing. Wait, what?
How loud are you saying this, Thorn?
Pretty much as only as loud as I need to, just to have the people at the table here.
Vermac, what's your passive? It's 11, and we already figured out that Grimm's passive is 14. Yeah, okay, so they don't hear this.
And another thing. Wait, what did you say?
Like I said, there are 4 unsavory individuals on the outside. I'm fairly certain they're following you. Armor with cloak.
3.
3. Sorry, 3.
Following me. Not him?
As far as I could tell, they look like they're more looking for you than your owl friend here.
I apologize for the interference. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
What's your plan, Clever?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
My name is Rainkiss Thorn, but everyone calls me Thorn.
Horn, I'm Clever Thunder of the Frozen Tundra tribe. Friends call me Clever. Thank you. I guess I should.
Rainkissed Thunder, you...
Or Rainkiss Thorn.
Thorn.
Rainkissed Thorn.
Rainkiss Thunder is apparently our child. That's who it is.
Thorn, you've heard of Clever Thunder.
It's barely episode 0, and we already have a ship
Right.
name.
We already have a ship name on a ship.
But is it a shipping ships?
It's kind of, if you think about it, it could be. Anyways, you actually, Thorn, have heard of Thunder. A few weeks ago, the Van Thamper Villa was ransacked because Van Thamper, who was one of the city's counselors, was found to be backing one of the cults in town. There are people talking that it wasn't true, there's rumors, propaganda, yada, 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 but Thunder in particular is well known amongst lower city and in particular outer city folks, because before the ransack happened, one of the bards in Clever Thunder's previous party threw a concert to try to get Clever Thunder's attention and literally had the town chanting Thunder. So you're not 100% that this is the Thunder that you've heard of, but there can't be very many tabaxis named Thunder in town.
Keep that in mind.
Grim Vicious, you will have heard of him. Oh, actually, we covered this. Grim Vicious, you look up over this Vermac, this guy that you're talking to, and you find sitting at a table across from you is a tabaxi, one who just a week or so ago gave you a bed to sleep in for a night. Nothing long, nothing vicious. There was no real long interactions between the two of you, other than he saw you sleeping rough and he made sure you had a bed for a night.
I do the equivalent of like tipping my hat or raising my glass to acknowledge, and basically kind of saying non-verbal thank you again.
So Clever, you would notice Grim sitting at the table over here with Vermac.
Like that would get Vermac's attention as to who's he waving at. He turns to look.
I wave at Grim. Polite wave, as I pull out a silver piece and put it on the table in front of Thorn. Thank you for letting me know. I should probably get out of here before they cause a scene in here.
Vermac, if you hear them describe him as Thunder, you've heard of Thunder as well, just have no reason you don't know that this person behind you is Thunder yet, just so you know. Because you stayed around the docks, and when we left the Van Thamper Villa, we went through the docks with Tiamat, with a giant illusion of Tiamat.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if they're really here for me, I should probably get going so they don't associate me with you. That would just cause you trouble.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. But you do you.
I'm waiting for Kriros to see the whisper I sent him. Kriros, you know Clever Thunder as well, but only in passing. He came into Sorcerer Sundries for parts for crafting. He's a crafter. So your guys' interactions, other than this very moment, would have been minimal at best, but you've seen him around.
In fact, he might actually be more familiar with the stuff that I make than with me.
Yeah. Yeah, upon hearing his name, in fact, you know that you've sold objects at the shop that he crafted.
Okay. Does Clever go to leave?
I'm getting ready to, yeah. Well, I'm going to finish my meal. There's no sense in wasting it. But I'll probably grab it and start drinking it heading towards the bar.
So, as you get up, I'd like reach out and put with a wing and kind of put it on your shoulder and push you back into your chair and say, you know that you don't have to necessarily face them alone. I know that you're a craftsman. I've sold some of your stuff before. This is just a temporary, job for me in my travels. But I'd be willing to at least help you get out of here, if needed.
Do I hear this?
That's up to you guys as a party.
Are you guys talking loud enough that I would hear this conversation?
I might have been at this point, yeah.
Like,
in-
You were also
in that
actively
case,
paying attention.
I down my 2 needs, and I walk over to Clever.
You're gonna down both of them. Just drop them.
Yep.
Oh boy, roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Simply because it was 2 of them. If it was just one, I'd have let it slide. But you asked for a gallon, so my dear boy, you are walking around rolling effectively like poisoned, I would say. But basically you loopy.
Oh wait, that was just my ability. That wasn't my saving throw.
Yeah, okay, roll the save, and depending on what you roll, it depends on how, it'll determine how hard you hit. It's not much better. Oh, but it's a neutral roll. Yeah, you're buzzed. Your buzz is on, and you think you've probably got a good 10 minutes before it turns into a drunk, and you start rolling with disadvantage.
Okay. And when I get to Clever, I was like, I'll see it that you leave here unscathed.
Look between the Minotaur, look between the owl. That's very kind of both of you, but I assure you I can handle myself. I'm not just a blacksmith.
Irrelevant.
I would say, well, it's your choice. I do have a plan if Clever actually leaves without any of us convincing him to stay. Just so that trigger's out there.
You all hear a noise in the distance, and the music comes to a stop. As soon as I find the button to make it come to a dang stop.
Oh no.
Another crackling boom in the distance. Most of the crowd doesn't seem to have paid attention. They clap to the music.
Oh no.
You feel the boat begin to bob up and down in the water.
We should go.
Everything on the wood begins to creak when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the entire center mass that is right next to somebody, right next to, it's the northern mast, simply ruptures from the top of the ship all the way down to the bottom. I need dexterity saving throws from everybody as shrapnel explodes in every direction from that center mast.
Do I see it?
Everybody sees it.
Awesome, I get advantage.
There's like
That explosion didn't get very loud, and I'm super disappointed. I ran like 4 different explosions, and not a single one of them gave me loud noises.
Yeah, I burned my inspiration because I rolled a nat 1.
Let's see what a plasma explosion sounds like. Better? That's pretty good too. Sure, that works.
How is it that the rogue got the low save?
coming out took me by surprise.
My question to you though is, did you see it coming?
He already asked that question. The rogue already asked the question as if they saw it coming.
Oh, from that roll, I was gonna say like you never saw it coming.
No, it was Grim that asked.
That's why. Oh, you're right. He's not the rogue. It's weird that he's not the rogue. That's very strange, actually. It's Grim. Just so you know, it's very weird. I'm also fighting the urge to call you Sid constantly because of the last name.
Vicious.
Yeah. So Vermac is actually the only one that's going to take any damage from this. Vermac, 6 points of damage as
Cool.
shards of wood just ripple into your side. Which,
Neat.
where you're sitting, is kind of a big deal. But everybody is kind of blown back to the walls from it. Meaning Clever Thunder's even tossed over the table. You notice water begin taking on from the bottom floors. And the captain goes, shit, not another terrorist attack. Today, here, what did we do? And as she turns around, she looks and she notices that Krios is wearing a purple sash. And she says, the purple. God damn it. It's the cult of the dragon again. And that is where we're going to wrap up.
Well then.
So welcome everyone to Exiles North, a Descent into Avernus side story. We find ourselves and our players in the Low Lantern, survivors of an explosion that just occurred on the ship. The ship is taking on water, and who knows what could happen as our players make their way back into Baldur's Gate proper and try to figure out who these people are that are following Clever Thunder and if the guards that were following Krios can be trusted. Also, what's with the guards that simply ignored the Minotaur and let him wander about the city as they pleased? We find ourselves looking over an alley, a shadowed figure as explosions crack in the city around us. Looking up onto a rooftop edge, and on the edge of the rooftop is another shadowed figure who is becoming lit by fire in the sky. A tiny wooden imp in the shape of a tabaxi who says to the figure below, look, I've given you everything I needed to. Did you get the package delivered? The hooded figure in the alley looks up and says, duh, I told you, would be done, is done, he says in a thick draconic accent. He pulls back his hood to reveal an aged tabaxi. His robe now open on him. He's got the same tattered leg that he had when he met one of our players earlier. He waves a hand and the illusion disappears. And he says, does not matter. Path is set. Now we see what happens. See you guys in 2 weeks for more Exiles North.